All right, so now we're gonna scale this back a lot, take it out of the coordinates for a lot of the coordinate plane, and kind of just focus on like stuff in space. So practice problems, we're gonna use this over here. M, N, and O are midpoints. So if M's a midpoint, if O's a midpoint, and if N is a midpoint. All right, so it turns out, let's not even look at the problem. Let's just get super excited. That means that this is a mid-segment triangle. All right, so there's a lot of cool stuff we know, but nonetheless, let's look at it now. So we need to find the perimeter of triangle X, Y, and Z. So we're focused on this big triangle right now. Well, let's look at some stuff. Some stuff is obvious. What do I mean by that? Well, if OZ is 5, then XO has to be 5 because O is the midpoint. That means that this whole length is 10. Okay? Now, MO, if that's 3, well, this is a mid-segment. So it's parallel. These green sides are parallel, even though I did a minor crappy job of showing that. They're parallel, and that also means that the mid-segment's half the length of its opposite side. So that means that's 6. All right, because I took this 3 and times it by 2 to get 6. And then lastly, if this is 4, if this side's 4, well, it's parallel, it's a mid-segment. So these two yellow sides are parallel, and that forces that to be 8. So the perimeter of triangle XYZ is just 6 plus 8 plus 10, also known as 24. And then M and O, well, technically, to find the perimeter of this smaller one, all I have to do is divide by 2. All the sides are half the length, so the perimeter is 12. I know that to be true. But let's just look at one little thing, or some things. Just let me go in a little in-depth explanation again. But if we know this is 10, remember, if this side's 10, then this side has to be 5, because it's half its length. All right. So just to kind of go a little bit more in depth and just say divide by 2 and it's 12. You could still technically find all 3 side lengths, get 3, 4, 5. Add those together, 12. All right, now we got this problem here, and we need to find X. All right. It didn't specifically say, but this is a mid-segment. So these two sides are parallel. All right. Now, this is a suggestion. You can do this, but this is legal. All right. You're allowed to say 3x minus 1 equals, well, take that, divide by 2, and you can say, well, this side is 17, so 3x minus 1 equals 17. I'm going to say refrain from doing that. Dividing by 2, so with mid-segment stuff, dividing by 2 at times can get messy. In this particular problem, it's actually super easy, but if you're just in the habit of always dividing by 2, sometimes you're going to run into decimals, you're going to run into solving for x with something over 2, it can get messy. My suggestion, again, these are just suggestions. You might think I'm a genius, you might think I'm an idiot. I don't care. It's just a suggestion, is always multiply by 2. And what do I mean by that? So what we wrote over here was legal, but I'm going to take this to go to here, I'm going to multiply by 2. All right, and you will most likely never get messy, won't run into decimals, anything like that. All right, limit your counter with fractions. So these are the same thing. This and this are the same thing. What we have in red, I think will be, if you just get used to multiplying by 2, it won't be as messy in the future. But all you do is then distribute. You add 2 to both sides. You get 6x equals 36. And then divide by 6 and x equals 6. All right, just suggestions. Either way is fine. You can either think about wanting to multiply by 2, or you can just say I would rather divide by 2, but at times that can get messy maybe in the future. All right, just a few more problems and then we are done. If P is the midpoint of AB and Q is the midpoint of BC, what is the length of PQ? All right, so basically, like, this can be really hard, or this can be somewhat lengthy, or we can limit on a lot of stuff we do. So midpoint is somewhere, let's see, P is mid, so I'm going to put ish. All right, this is the midpoint ish. I didn't find the exact midpoint of AB. All right, so that's P ish. Q is the midpoint of BC. I don't know what it is exactly. We'll write Q. All right, those are estimates. But why I did that is, well, instead of finding the exact midpoints and then finding the length of that, I know that it's going to be just whatever this length is, it's going to be AC divided by 2. So what I'm going to do is find the length of AC, then divide by 2, and it'll tell me that. All right, and I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem shortcut here. All right, we practiced the distance formula enough today. That's 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. All right, and I'm going to call this X. I could call it anything. I could call it C. Typically in Pythagorean theorem, they use C, but you can call anything you want. And I think we already saw this today. But anyways, we get x squared equals 16 plus 36. X squared equals 52. Take the square root of both sides, and x equals the square root of 52, which is about 7.2. All right, so that means PQ is actually, it's going to be, let's do this. It's going to be the square root of 52 divided by 2, because if you keep that in my calculator, it'll give me slightly more accurate numbers, such as 3.6. All right. So to find the length of BQ, I found the length of the opposite side. Since it's parallel and half its length, I just found the length of AC, then divided by 2. 2 more problems and we're done. Which of the following statements is false? The endpoints of a midsegments are midpoints. Well, that's true. Midsegments, midpoints. A midsegment is parallel to the side of the triangle, it does not intersect. Well, that's true. There are 4 congruent triangles formed by the midsegments of a triangle. And then really fast, if I copy and paste this, oversimplifying things is all these triangles are congruent by side, side, side. All right, they all have side lengths 3, 4, 5. If you analyze this, they all this triangle, this triangle, this triangle, and this triangle all have side lengths 3, 4, and 5, so they're all congruent by side, side, side. A line that passes through 2 sides of a triangle and parallel to the third side, then as a midsegment, this is the false one. I have to rush a little bit because we're running out of time before the bell rings. But these could be parallel, but not clearly a midsegment. So that's the false one. And then really fast on this one, which one of these are false? Well, OP, RS is equal to TU. Well, that's going to be this length divided by 2. So they actually have the same side length, so that's true. If RS is 2x and OP is 20, then TU is 10. Wait, hold on. Well, that's true. You don't even need that first part. That doesn't even really matter. If OP is 20, then TU is 10. Well, that's true because it's half the length. If OP is 4x, so again, Russian, 4x, RS is 6x minus 8, and x equals 2. Well, again, we're going to get 2 times 6x minus 8 equals 4x. A miracle occurs, and, well, x equals 2.